Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Sam Wagers here with John Cummins and Shannon Eno for another Plocktastic episode, right in the middle of Plocktober. That's right. It's still going on. The spirit is in the air, and everything is Plock. At least if you're me, I've been hard at work every day making
plocking away
ridiculous Plock memes, turning everything into Plock.
I appreciate checking that channel out every day to see the new.
There was a stretch of like 2 days I forgot, but I made up for it, so it's all good. You know, I got to.
They've all been bangers though, so if anybody hasn't checked it out,
you know,
you got Adam's attention for sure.
I don't think he was feeling the spirit last year. You know, he was like, "What in the world? Why?"
I think he was in the middle of some things, maybe,
but.
This year he's all for
but
it.
I think now he gets it. We have a convert. So, you know, it's always a wonderful thing to see. And really, I mean, you don't even have to enjoy the game of Plock to
the character does it all
the joy
himself.
of Plocktober. It's really just based on the pun. That's all we're here for is the pun of Plocktober. But anyway, RetroLogic is not just a podcast. It's a whole community of retro gamers where we have an active and friendly and free Discord where you can share and enjoy Plock memes, as well as many other things that aren't related to Plock, all times of the year, not just October. And we have giveaways, contests, and a whole family of retro podcasts such as RetroGroove, On Topic Retro, and FilmLogic. So you should check it out. If you're not there, you should be there. You're missing out on all kinds of fun. So anything interesting happened this week before we move into our games and our show topic?
Anybody here not playing Zelda still? I know I still am.
I haven't finished it. I slowed down. I had to travel for a conference, and that took up most of last week, so I've been catching up on stuff.
I'm in the last
I'm close.
Of the three. They were
just tonight I finished the last of that second set of dungeons.
Okay.
So
I'm in my second of those three.
Somewhere else I have to go that I don't think is the final dungeon. So I'm probably going to do some side quests now too.
Yeah, I've been kind of exploring the map, trying to do some side quests, go searching for heart pieces and stuff, and yes,
I just
entered my second dungeon.
It's
of the
good
second
to
set.
just mainline the main quests first, because clearing the rifts is how you level up Try.
Yes,
so
that does help.
I think, getting more echoes and reduced cost echoes is like, if you do that at the end of the game, it's like, well, now there's nothing left to do. So it's nice to have some heart pieces left.
I do have one echo that I have gotten. And I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, so I won't say. It's an enemy echo, and it still costs more than I can cast.
Yeah, I had one or two of those, I think, before I could actually spend 5 points.
Yeah, I did too. Once you get to where you can spend 5, it's good.
That's when I decided I needed to just level up and not explore too much.
Well, anytime there's a rift that opens, like smaller rifts, I go there as quickly as possible just to, try to level some stuff up.
See, I didn't even realize that the smaller ones were there at first. I think I was in maybe the second of the new dungeons that you get, and then I was like, oh wait, you can actually go into some smaller ones around here.
There's some of them there before the second set, and you didn't actually do anything with them.
Yeah, right. So I was just skipping over
them until that midway.
Until after,
It is nice because now I'm full, way more upgraded. So now I can go in and just totally break one of those, and I can finish one in less than a minute. I can just pop in there, use all the high level echoes that I have, and just clear, and totally knock one out. So that was kind of fun to kind of break it.
Have you guys messed with the sleep challenges at all?
Yes.
Only the first two, because I forgot about it and didn't check to see when new ones unlocked.
Yeah.
So I did the 2 that you start with, and then It's like, okay, come back later. And I'm like,
I think I've done
I'll
3 of them, and then I was like, I was having a hard time on one. There's some challenge in some of those.
Are you talking about the dojo?
Yeah, the Dream Dojo. Yeah.
Dream Dojo. Yeah, I did all of them.
Okay.
So there are multiple stages of them. Like once you complete just the time, like you can actually complete the even faster time, but it's not announced. It's like he'll say like, oh, you've got a minute to do this, but if you do it in like 30 seconds, and that beats the like, because I think it's maybe the next fastest time he asks for is 40 seconds. It'll give you like a different stamp for completing it. So I have like 2 or 3 of them where I've got the next fastest time without replaying them. I got it on the first try. And then there's one that's like a boss rush. And you have to complete all of them to get a certain item that you will need later once you find a certain person that has quests for items. I don't want to spoil a whole lot of stuff. I was going to
say, that's definitely more further than I've gotten.
You will find them just by wandering around the map. So
right.
I think you could find them pretty early even.
It
gives you a whole nother
like I said, I think
things.
this may actually be my new top Zelda game. Still too early to say.
It is a lot of fun.
It does have a few issues. That list to scroll through keeps getting longer.
Once you get over a certain amount, it's horrible.
It wasn't bad in the early game, but now it's like,
I hope now it's get like, a patch.
Yes, because you're like, especially you'll be like, all right, I definitely want this one, and you're thinking of a specific one, and you're just going, I don't remember the last time I used it, so sorting the list doesn't help. And you're just like, going through, and if you spin right by it or something like that, I mean, because some of them, especially if you're playing handheld, they're not, if they don't jump out at you or whatever, it's not like you get a big, it's just a small little square. And so
I'm kind of hoping
maybe
that
I'm
we get a patch that kind of bundles, at least by the, because you get multiple levels of things, so like if they can at least just give you like a icon for that item, and then you can like scroll up and down to select the level you want.
Yeah, that would
eliminate a lot of the hassle.
Even if it did that, and then like put all the different types of like blocks together.
Yeah,
the beds together.
I think they could do. I think they could do some work to make it more intuitive, because there's so many times where you just since it's a release of the button that activates the item you select, and then it reorders it. It's like if you selected it by accident, now it's moved it to a different place on the list. Like it moved everything over.
If you go by most recent,
I was like, this is annoying. Like I keep grabbing right before the one I'm trying.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't need to scroll through yet another different kind of vase that's like the same as every other vase, just a different design. But overall, having an amazing time with the game.
Oh, it's definitely fun. To me though, like I hear a lot of people say that they enjoy like the puzzle nature of the dungeons. To me, the dungeons aren't really that puzzly.
They really aren't, and there's a lot of ways to break them.
Yeah,
the last one I did, I felt like I was just like ignoring half of the obstacles. I was like,
you could cheese
like, I see what you want me to do, game, with like lava fountains and putting the blocks on them to lift them up. I'm just gonna flying tile across the room.
Yes, that's what I did as much as possible, whenever possible. So, there were a couple rooms I couldn't do that in, though.
Did you figure out that you could just put a stone down on the lava and step on it?
Yeah.
So like you could just create a path all the way down through the thing.
Well, except for if you're... the big stones... Like if I laid a second one, my first one would disappear.
No, just a single stone.
Just a regular boulder.
You could just put the regular boulder. Yeah, you could just set it in the lava and make a path.
They sink after a few seconds.
Yeah, they do sink, but you could
it's quick enough for you to just make a path for yourself.
I was trying to do what I thought was the intended way, I guess. If I couldn't just do a flying tile over it, because there were some where you had to get on like a lava lift and stuff like that, or a longer distance. Or if you had
the cloud.
But I didn't have the cloud because I didn't. I know. Yeah. Well, I have it now, but because that was the second area. I went to the Gorons first, and so I'm jumping on these. I'm laying the big stones down, but then I can't I can't lay another one without destroying or making the one I'm on disappear.
I take it you get the cloud in the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I'm doing or getting ready to do. So I was like, I don't have a
cloud. That was the second one I did. I left the wetlands for last of those three. So, but anyway, great game. Great game.
Nice.
I do have, other than playing Zelda, I have a pickup that I'm pretty happy about. I found somebody on eBay that was selling a loose disc copy of Armored Core Last Raven for $35, which is much cheaper than it used to be. Because that used to be one of the most... It's gone down a lot. Like 2 years ago, it was like $65, $70, even without a box. But this is still below what price charting has it at. So I'm like, I'll just scoop that up. That's like the last PS2 Armored Core game. So it's probably the one I'm most interested in playing. But since the prices are going down, I might actually try to collect the whole series. Or at least all the PS2 ones. I don't even have a PS3 right now. So
Armored Core I haven't got into any of them yet. I've been getting most of the front mission games right now.
I have most of the front mission games too. Actually, I haven't had a chance to play them though. Just the first one.
And then I bought I traded and got the Saturn a little while ago, but I bought a memory card or the memory cartridge that also has the extra RAM, but it also has a slot to put an SD card on it, and you can use it as a loader instead of playing a disc. So now I can play Saturn games off of that, and it's amazing. It's so much easier and better than paying $500 to get Saturn Bomberman.
Mm-hmm.
I actually get to play it. Nonetheless, even just finding like Saturn Bomberman's really hard to find anyway. Even if you do have the money to buy one, a lot of times.
Now you just need, your 2 multi-taps and 9 other people to play with, right?
I do need to buy, that'd be a lot of controllers too. And Saturn controllers are not necessarily cheap.
Yeah.
I bought a third-party one. It was still $35. I'll just have a bring your own controller, and we'll
just have RetroLogic Con at John's house.
I was gonna say, do you have nine friends who can all bring a controller who have a Saturn controller?
I was gonna say, I don't think I have. For one, I might not even have 9 friends to play video games, but probably even less that have a Saturn out of those groups.
Well, they don't have to have a Saturn; they just have to have the controller.
Yeah, just tell them to buy their own controller.
See, this is why it may not objectively be the best game, but I think my favorite Bomberman game is actually Bomberman Blast from WiiWare, because it was actually a moment in time where it was pretty easy to make that happen, especially for me. Because I took my Wii with me to college, and like everybody has Wii remotes, and it was pretty easy to actually get an 8-player game in a room.
Oh yeah, and a Wii remote's way cheaper than at that point in time, and they were way more readily available. Good, and the Wiimote was actually had decent third-party options for whenever it was relevant. Can't say so much for. I'm kind of amazed nobody really. I guess there are third-party Joy-Cons, but I never hear anything great about them.
That's kind of true.
One of the Hori ones with the D-pad on it. That was pretty good.
Don't those have to be connected though? Like you can't.
Yeah,
they're not separately, right? I
don't think there are any good wireless third-party ones.
I think it's just too complicated of a device. There's too many things going on in there.
Yeah. Don't want to add the gyro and stuff too.
Yep.
Well, anyway, just a quick bit of housekeeping before we get to the games and on to our topic, which is going to be Mario Party with another new game coming out. We're going to take a little look back, stroll down memory lane. on the classic Mario Party series.
Yeah.
But before then,
real classic.
Let's see what's going on in the RetroLogic family of podcasts. We do have new episodes from both FilmLogic and RetroGroove recently. FilmLogic has a mini episode about Joker 2 and the most annoying streaming service. RetroGroove just the other day dropped a retrospective on Midnight Marauders, the 1993 album from A Tribe Called Quest. So you can check that out. Once again, there are links to all that on the website. John, anything new from you?
Well, unfortunately, another episode has come, and I have yet to get On Topic Retro back up and going. I am off tomorrow, though, so I might try to at least shut down the current game that has been being played for months now, and throw up another poll to get a new Retro Rewind game going, and then maybe that will make me want to get another episode going.
Everybody's got plenty to play.
In the Zelda series right now?
So we need to record the Minish Cap episode.
Yeah. Minish Cap.
And
okay.
I mentioned it last time. I got a message from
what's
Chris.
After
He's
that?
like, hey,
that
I can still do
Princess that. After that? Or Wind Waker?
Hold on and I'll tell you. So after Minish Cap
before
is Twilight Princess.
Yeah, no, after Wind Waker.
Yeah. Because it used some of the assets.
Yeah. Then Phantom Hourglass Spirit Tracks will be in one episode. So technically, after I finally get Minish Cap up and going, we will only have 5 more episodes left, and that includes Breath of the Wild.
Wait a minute, is that going to does that include Echoes of Wisdom? We can't not do that now, John.
Well, yeah, we could do an Echoes of Wisdom podcast, but then
it's technically On Topic Modern.
Well, that one would be an On Topic
modern.
Modern.
I mean, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom are fairly modern too.
No, they're retro now. They're old.
Breath of the Wild Breath of the Wild is almost retro. It's almost 8 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say, can a system and
it's a Wii U
that
game.
Is still available?
It's a Wii U game.
Oh, there you go. I was like, if people are still buying it brand new today for a system that is still being sold today,
you can't buy the Wii U copy.
It could be modern and retro at the same time. Like,
yeah,
how much longer could happen?
If we do, I never did do a Tears of the Kingdom On Topic Modern either, but if we do Breath of the Wild and then I do an On Topic Modern for Echoes of Wisdom, Tears of the Kingdom would be the only game that we didn't cover on the show. So
that's right.
Maybe we'll just continue down the line and make it a complete series. It doesn't have to necessarily be retro.
Said it before. I think I want to be there for Skyward Sword. So just
okay.
Let me remind you of that. I want to be there for Skyward Sword.
I think if I'm not too terribly busy next week, after we get out of here, I'll throw something in the Discord, try to get the band back together for the Minish Cap. Maybe we can get one knocked out next week. And then we will eventually have to do a Ninja Gaiden episode because that's the current Retro Rewind game, and I'm going to have to get Adam on. And maybe Shoner Todd. I don't know if he ever actually finished it or if he rage quit, but I know he made it almost to the end, if not completed it. So maybe we can get those two on and they could talk about just how difficult it is. I mean, Adam did it on original hardware, so
yeah, I'd love to hear them talk about it.
Yes, I need to get it back up and going. I've got a lot less going on now. At this point, it's just me being lazy, so we'll get it going.
All right. Well, for my part, I'm still plugging away with Battle Network, but I'm in the Battle Network 5 post game, so probably wrap that up in about 2 more weeks or so, I think. And then 6, the last one. Then I'll have to find something else. Run out of
Armor Core.
Yeah. Don't tempt me. I'll do it.
Man.
Shannon, anything new with Star Wars Dads? You guys just recorded yesterday, right?
Well, we had to postpone that briefly.
Oh, okay.
Both our lives have been a little crazy, actually, the last couple weeks. So soon we'll be recording episode 10, and we'll go from there. It's been kind of a little bit of a slow news cycle anyway, right at the moment. But we'll have something out here pretty quick.
And something else that we can kind of mention, since we are a part of a larger family of podcasts, the Nintendo Dad should be recording episode 500 tonight, correct?
As we speak.
That's so
right.
Definitely go listen to the original podcast that brought this one to its being.
Yeah.
For its 500th episode, I'm sure.
500th episode in 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how you do a podcast for that long. We'll see when we get there.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in 500 episodes we can finally
it'll take us
get
a lot
really
longer
good
than
at
10
Prices
years.
Retro.
Yeah, 20 years for 500 episodes for us.
Right.
What we're looking at.
We'll be talking about and we'll be talking about Switch stuff like it was, like we do right now for like
Switch
Super
2
Nintendo.
will be retro by then.
Yep.
All right. I guess we can play some Prices Retro now.
All right, let's play some Prices Retro. If this is your first time playing, here is how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games. Everyone has to guess how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever is closest to the actual value wins the round. Everyone has a list. Everyone guesses on each other's list. At the end, the player that wins the most rounds wins the episode. Tiebreaker is decided by the single closest guess. But watch out for our trio of AI competitors: the robot, who averages all the players' guesses for his own, the ghost, who always guesses 300, and the dinosaur, who guesses roughly MSRP of the games when they were released.
So
they work together.
We are working on.
They have challenged us much more this season.
Yes.
So we represent the hope of humanity. So
having all 3 of them together, they have way better odds than we do.
It's true. And really, the robots just performed a lot better.
Yes.
He's carrying that team for sure.
I think
the ghost might have got 1 or 2, but
yeah, having all 3 hosts, in 4 with Dan makes it run a lot smoother because the robots' guesses are actually makes sense. Whenever it was just us, it's like it didn't work like we intended. Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go first?
I can go first. I got a good list.
Okay.
All right.
My list is Mario Party-like games, since we're doing Mario Party.
Oh, I almost did a similar list. This would be interesting.
You got Pac-Man Party on there?
I have Pac-Man Fever.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, for the GameCube.
Game?
Yeah,
No,
it's a party game.
There's a Wii one that's more like Mario Party, I think.
Yeah, I think Pac-Man Fever was their first attempt.
Better.
I don't think it was...
I think it's a better game, too.
It might be a better game, but it's not as Mario Party-like. But it's an attempt, so I put it on the list. So Pac-Man Fever for the GameCube, complete in box. And then next I have Super Shrek Super Party for the GameCube, complete in box. The third game is Fusion Frenzy for the Xbox, which is kind of it's a collection of mini games. I don't know if there's actually a board it's been a long time. It was on the original Xbox. That one is also complete in box. And then I have Sonic Shuffle for the Sega Dreamcast, complete in box. And Crash Bash for the PlayStation, complete in box. Crash's version of Mario Party. Because, he does everything Mario does.
Okay.
After Mario does it.
Shannon, you have first guess.
All right. I've got 145.
Okay, let's see here.
All right, I'm pretty close to you. I've got 115.
115. Okay, let me do I forgot to do the dino while I was in here. Hold on one second. Let me find Cast, GameCube, PlayStation, and Xbox. All right. Okay. So the total value of my lot is 143.11. So Shannon is very close.
This is Shannon's season.
This is my season. I'm
It's gonna be
fighting
hard
off
to
that
beat him on a
AI.
tiebreaker now. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably get the tiebreaker if it comes down to it.
All right.
Not
So
Unless-
quite
what's the
as close as
breakdown?
my last one, but
Unless someone guesses exact.
Is it the Dreamcast one? Is that the one I lowballed?
Maybe. So Pac-Man Fever for the GameCube Complete in Box is $11.93. Super Shrek Party, or I keep getting Shrek Super Party for the GameCube Complete in Box, $58.84.
Oh,
okay, that was definitely
that's the
higher
one
than
I
I
was
thought.
off on.
Fusion Frenzy for the Xbox Complete in Box, $12.23. Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast Complete in Box, $45.
I was right on.
And Crash Bash for the PlayStation, $15.11.
That was so.
Shrek.
I was off on the Pac-Man a little bit and the Shrek, but the rest I was like right on. So that worked out.
It did. All right. Who's next?
All right. Shannon, do you want to give
All
your
right.
list next?
Yep. All right. So I did all Monopoly games because why not? if there's any I don't think there's a single system out there without some Monopoly. And in fact, I may break the dinosaur just so you know.
Okay.
On one of these. So the first one is Monopoly for Game Boy, complete in box. The second one, Monopoly for the Nintendo 64, complete in box. The third one is Monopoly for the Game.com device, complete in box. That's the one I'm not sure if we have that system in there.
I don't, but I'm gonna kind of work it in. We'll see.
All right. And the fourth and last one is Monopoly Star Wars for the PC, completed box.
Okay.
Which I still have my copy of right over there.
I had Star Wars Monopoly, the actual board game version.
I think I got that somewhere behind me too. There's been quite a few versions.
I have first guess. I'm gonna say 100. Yeah, just $100 even.
Okay. I'm gonna go 150.
So John may have just broken this open for in his favor. 149.14.
Oh, wow.
So less than $1 off. Man, I thought I was close.
It's anybody's game but mine at this point. Because
the
I don't
Dino
guess
was
on the
really
next
close
one.
too. He was like 165.
Woo! So
All
the
right,
breakdown of that, Game Boy completed box was $24.80. The N64, $39.35. The Game.com version is $75. And the PC Star Wars version is $9.99. Which I know I paid more for.
Huh.
Yep.
I guess that's the one that threw me off.
Well, there'd be like no way that I would be able to even estimate what those games go for. at all,
Yeah.
let alone completing box.
I mean, most Monopoly games, I figure, aren't going to be crazy high value.
Yes.
You know, it's the kind of thing you just find copies of everywhere. But
I'm guessing that
you get into those weirder
games,
systems.
Yeah, for most of the games on that system, probably, especially complete in box, are probably worth a little bit more, just because there's probably not a lot of them.
games are usually at least a little bit more valuable, just because there's not very many of them out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, my list is not remotely board game themed. It is all complete in box PlayStation 1 games. So just keep that in mind. I'll keep it short and not mention. They're all PS1. They're all complete in box.
Okay.
That's pretty much all they have in common. I've got One Piece Mansion. Again, PlayStation, complete in box. Colony Wars Vengeance. Armored Core Project Phantasma. Grand Stream Saga. And Wild 9. Yeah. So that's pretty much all these games have in common. They're all PlayStation 1 games, with the exception of the Armored Core one. They're all also games I own.
Is it my turn to go first, or
yeah,
it's your turn to go first.
I'm going to say 275.
Still adding mine up here real quick.
275.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are duking it out right now.
All right, I have 240.
240. Okay.
Hopefully, it's not right in between.
The total is lower than both. It's 193.96. So I believe that goes to Shannon, unless the dinosaur beats that.
Nope. That was at 250.
250. Okay. So yeah,
right.
Shannon takes another game.
He does
2-1.
Nice.
So the breakdown there: One Piece Mansion, $20.97. Colony Wars Vengeance, $11.53. Armored Core Project Phantasma, by far the most expensive, $115.07. Grand Stream Saga, $29.92, and Wild 9, $16.47. So most of these are pretty affordable.
Yeah. I'd say a lot of PlayStation 1, like, it's either seems to be pretty affordable or like just insane,
crazy expensive.
The
RPGs. Is it an RPG?
Yeah, it's the
expensive.
RPGs. Yeah, exactly.
An RPG other than, Final Fantasy. Those are usually
those are a dime a dozen.
Because everybody played Final Fantasy.
All right.
All right. Well, I will gladly take that win.
All right.
Trivia time?
Yeah, trivia time.
All right. So I have 4 questions about the Mario Party series. And the first few have multiple choice. So first one is, who is the host in Mario Party 3? Is it Blue Toad, Lakitu, Green Toad, or Millennium Star?
Millennium Star.
Yep.
Yes.
This
that is
big
correct.
mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, good job. Next one. Which entry saw the introduction of an 8-player mode? Is it 5, 7, 9, or Super Mario Party?
It's gotta be 8 players. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Super Mario Party.
Yeah, I think it's Super.
It is actually 7.
What?
7.
It was a special.
Okay.
It was a special mode
I didn't play 7.
that allowed. And 7 was a GameCube, so
I might have played that once.
Two players would share each
7.
GameCube. So it
wow,
simplified some of the controls and stuff with it. Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And the microphone. Mario Party 7. I need I need to play Mario Party 7. That game's crazy.
Well, you say that. So we were talking about this a little bit already, but which entry first saw the introduction of the microphone being used? 4, 5, 6, or 7?
That is 7. I know that because there's only so many games that use the microphone. Of course, one of them's Odama, so you can just reset the counter. Days since Odama mentioned, you can reset that. I have to mention Odama when we talk about the GameCube microphone.
The actual answer, though, is 6.
Is
7
it?
used it better.
7 came packaged with it. Yeah?
I believe so, but it actually was introduced in 6.
Okay.
Yep. All right. And the last question. Who was the original developer of Mario Party?
Isn't that Hudson Soft?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. Hudson Soft and then Indie Cubed, which had staff from Hudson.
Yes. All right. So that was the trivia time.
Sweet.
2 out of 4. Okay.
Yeah, not bad.
It's those GameCube ones. I didn't play
the ones that we didn't play.
Yep. But they introduced some different things. And so, yeah. And of course, now they're not overly cheap either, I don't think.
No, I don't. They're all like around $60-$70 now.
Yeah.
GameCube in general got expensive.
Yep.
All right. Well, we will talk some more Mario Party after a short break. So, we'll see you on the other side of this break. All right. Welcome back. And we are talking about some Mario Party. So, kind of go over the release timeline a little bit and just our general thoughts. Mario Party originally came out on the N64 in 1998. Was pretty much an annual release after that. Mario Party 2 in 99, 3 in 2000, a 1-year break, and then 4... pretty much that's what you see. You see a 1-year break when new hardware is coming because they want to get ready for the new hardware. So 4 on the GameCube in 2002, 2 years after 3. And then 3 saw Mario Party 5, as well as the e-reader series came out at the same time. 6 in 2004, 7 in 2005, alongside Mario Party Advance. Took a year off for 2006 and came back in 2007 with Mario Party 8 on the Wii and Mario Party DS on the DS. And then a bigger gap until Mario Party 9 in 2012 and Island Tour in 2013. Another 1-year gap, Mario Party 10 on the Wii U, Star Rush in 2016, another one of the handheld ones. Top 100 in 17, handheld again, and Super Mario Party in 18. And then a longer gap, 19 and 20, nothing, and came back with Superstars in 21, and now Jamboree 3 years after that.
That's about every 3 years on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's started to space out a little more. Maybe that's just because overall development times tend to be longer. Hard to say. Maybe they realized the pace was just a little bit too much for most people.
I think sales probably started slowing down too.
Though, I mean, I had Mario Party 1 and 3 on the 64 growing up. Skipped 2 for whatever reason. Just, wasn't ready to get another Mario Party when it came out. And I did not play the GameCube games. I still have not. I have played 2 on NSO like a couple times, but probably the game I put the most time in was 3. So that's the one I have probably the strongest and fondest memories of. And of course, I've played the more recent ones as well. And my hot take, I actually enjoyed Mario Party 9 quite a lot. It has a poor reputation among some people, but I think 9 and to a lesser extent 10 are actually pretty good games. Yeah.
10 was weird because it had the weird mode where you could play as Bowser.
I liked the Bowser mode.
I thought that was actually kind of one of the more fun modes.
In terms of alternate modes, I think it's one of the better ones. But it did feel like it almost detracted a little from the main mode.
And it felt really short.
Yes.
Seemed like it did
that
take long.
is actually the virtue of, I think, 9 and 10 is they streamlined the game quite a bit more with the car. A lot of people dislike the car. I understand why. But it did lead to total games being a lot shorter. And if you've played a lot of Mario Party with other people, especially other people who are more casual kind of gamers, you realize it's just too long. People start losing interest after like 7 turns. And that's a problem. And I think 9 and 10 did a lot to solve that problem. They also have really good minigames. I think 9 has some of the best minigames out of anything, but maybe that's just me. We can talk more about 9 and 10, but it seems like one thing all three of us have in common is kind of neglecting the GameCube entries.
Yeah, I only played, I'm pretty sure, and they all kind of blend together. There's so many of them that were coming out that I feel like it was kind of saturating and makes it difficult to go, okay, which one was this mini game on? Which one was that mini game on? And it starts to just kind of blur. And I only played one of the GameCube games, and I only played it a few times, and I think it was 7, but like I never played it. I don't remember the whole 8-player thing from the trivia question even I asked. So I don't remember even trying that or anything. But I first played one. Actually, it was a rental. I did not own. Actually, I still don't own any of the 64 games either. And that was just because in college it was a rental, and with some buddies. And actually, we went out, we rented it, and we're like, oh, we only have 2 controllers back at the apartment. So we actually went out and bought 2 more controllers to play 4-player Mario Party when we first rented it. I definitely enjoyed it more than my buddies did. They were just like you were saying, Sam. They about 7-8 turns in, they're just like, all right,
Also, especially if they're not winning.
Especially if you're not winning, right? And then they're like, all right, let's go back to Mario Kart. let's go back to Smash, let's go back to GoldenEye. But I also more of a board game player. So I think I'm just drawn to this kind of stuff and can do longer games, and don't need quite as much action. But yeah, so that was really it. So that I played the first 3, but they were all rentals or borrowing them from other people. Mm-hmm. I never actually owned one. Only played, I think, 7, and then it wasn't really until the Wii that I started playing them all again. And by that time, it was because I had a family, right? So actually have kids, you start playing these kind of games are perfect for that. So I do not hate too much on 9 and 10 either. I'm kind of with you, Sam. Like, I didn't mind, especially having younger kids. All being in the car together actually did speed up the game a little bit, and that was helpful. But I don't know. I think the mini games in them were fine, but I don't remember being blown away by them either, though, personally. So I actually prefer some of the older mini games. I know also with the mini games, I cannot stand ones that are just like go in a line and pick the right fishing pole or cut cut the wrong rope and you're out. Like
the ones that are mostly chance.
They're just completely chance. And I realize I'm playing a board game, right? And like chance is an inherent part of playing board games. But when it comes to playing mini games, I want to have some kind of control.
Well, whenever there's the ability to give, competitive nature to it, and whenever there's the ability to take that chance out and make it, actual gameplay.
Well, the thing about Mario Party is you can win every mini game and still lose Mario Party.
And I have lost plenty of games that had nothing to do with my skill, right? Like I would win all or almost all of the mini games and still lose to my, daughter. Yeah, it's like, and she was like, 7, and she's beating me at Mario Party because it was just so much chance. And I don't mind that to extent like just within the board game, but when it comes to the mini games, I want a little bit of control with my mini games.
Yeah.
I don't want just like chance on the board, extra stars at the end, whatever, land on a thing that, you spin a wheel and somebody steals your stars, whatever. Like that's all fine for that kind of chance within the board. But with the games themselves, I don't really find that to be a mini game if I'm just randomly picking something that's either going to get me knocked out or not.
Yeah.
But
exactly. Yeah. No, I don't think out of any games that are my favorite, that's not the case.
I think I had similar experience to you, Shannon, with Mario Party 10 because my kids were like 4 and 7 when we got it, and they loved being in the car. And because the worst part with playing with your kids is like even just reminding them that it's their turn to roll the dice.
Yep.
every time.
Yes.
So like
push the button.
It made it way easier to do that too. And like the way we would play usually is like my wife and I would take turns being Bowser, and then the other parent would have the kids in the car, and like we would play that way.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good.
Right. Sure. So what was though, John? What did you kind of jump on board at the same time? And
yep, I played 1, 2, and 3 with friends. I missed all of the GameCube ones. I kind of wish I would have played the e-reader one because, like, I have an e-reader. I just realized
that's more of an expensive one now. I think
they totally missed out on an opportunity to call it Mario Part E. And with like get rid of the Y and just make it a dash E.
That's great.
Well, just like Splatoon 2 should have been called Splatoon.
Splatoon, yeah. And Split 3. But no, yeah, I didn't play any of the GameCube ones either. I think honestly at that time I was playing a lot more Wario with the micro games. And then honestly, with GameCube, I was kind of in and out of gaming at that point on a console. I was doing a lot more PC, so kind of struggled to play Mario Party at that point. And being a little bit older, it was harder to find friends that were going to play Mario Party with me. They were all wanting to play other stuff.
Yeah.
And then I came back in the Wii era as well. I had older friends that also had kids that were playing Mario Party, so they would just bring it over and we would all play. I still don't own any. I don't think I own any of Mario Party except for the handheld games, which is kind of strange.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't touched the handheld
the hardest
games.
ones.
So what's your opinion on the handheld games?
So I liked the 3DS games. The Game Boy Advance games pretty rough. Like you could tell like they didn't really know how to make Mario Party a Game Boy game. And I have Mario Party DS, but I've acquired it later and I haven't played it. But the 3DS games I would play, I played with my son. We both had 3DSs, and then they actually play out more like traditional Mario Party. Like I think the 3DS was powerful enough and had online, and you could do some more things.
Yeah, and just wireless mode, not having to mess with the link cable.
Yeah, exactly. So they were a little bit more streamlined. But I was trying to think back. I was like, yeah, I never owned the 64 games. I always played them at a friend's house. And then since I missed out on Mario Party for the GameCube, I didn't own any of those, and they're all super expensive now. And then I played 9. I never played 8 on the Wii, but I played 9. And again, it was a friend that had that brought it over. So I don't know. I guess I own the Switch ones, but I guess technically they're handheld as well. Kind of.
Well, I mean,
they're both, but yeah.
I will say that the 3 that we've gotten on Switch all are, I mean, I haven't played Ghibli. I did pick it up, but I haven't even opened it yet. And I will say, though, that they all seem to be a little bit different from each other. Yeah. Whereas ones in the past, the ones on the same system were all pretty similar.
Yeah, just kind of like iterations on the same.
Right.
Well, to be fair, GameCube, you introduced the microphone halfway through.
That's true.
I mean, I haven't played those. 1 and 2 are very similar.
1 and 2 are
that's my understanding. They actually share a lot of mini games.
Yeah, and 3 had some of the same mini games, but introduced some new types.
It had more new. You had the dual mode. I actually loved the dual mode.
Yeah, dual mode's good.
Yeah, that was good.
Even though it kind of de-emphasized mini games. Like you could actually, I think it's possible to never have a mini game in dual mode.
Yeah.
You're mostly chasing each other around the board.
Right.
There are spaces, but it's only the dual mini games, the 1v1s.
Yeah.
So there's fewer of them too. That was really. I always thought that was cool that you just had like Mario enemies that you use like Pokemon, and it differentiated the characters too. That's something they wouldn't do again, I believe, until Super Mario Party, where everybody had the special dice.
Everybody had special dice, yeah. Yep.
But in 3, they had different starting henchmen, so to speak. So I always wanted to play Waluigi there because he started with the Piranha Plant, which had like the highest attack power. So
kind of stuff. Kind of what Shannon was saying with the Switch, like Super Mario Party was like a new entry to Mario Party, had some new things going on. But Superstars is more like traditional Mario Party. Like it even brought in a lot of the old boards and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of what Top 100 should have been.
Correct.
Yeah,
in a lot
Top
of
100
ways.
wasn't as good as.
Well, it was just mini games, and I think that really
kind of takes the wind out of it. That speaks
to what Mario Party is. Like the whole point of Mario Party is that it's not just a mini game collection, but these play out as part of a board game.
Yeah,
and I think that too is an interesting. Like I've talked before about how I just, for some reason, I really enjoy like video game board games. And by that, I don't mean, not that there's anything wrong with them. I don't mean like video game adaptations of actual board games. But I really like when video games use board games and do things board games can't do. Which Mario Party is a very great representation of that. You could maybe create a board game where you have a bunch of mini games at the end of each turn. But that would require lots of setup constantly.
And it would have to be very simple.
Yes, and they'd have to be even simpler than the Mario Party ones, which that's like a tension in Mario Party 2, is like all these have to be like simple enough that you don't have to spend 5 minutes making sure everybody knows what the rules of the game you're playing are.
They're made to be quick. And
I think the interactive demo screen is a godsend for the more recent games.
Yes.
Where you instead of, because before you had to like,
guess
okay, do we want to do a practice round?
Right.
You could do the practice round, but like, that you talk about these games already being a little too slow.
Yeah.
We had a lot more patience back in the day, maybe, when we had all the time in the world because we were kids with no responsibilities. But I think there are a lot of improvements just in quality of life for more recent stuff. But having that kind of interaction where the mini games have stakes for the board game. But again, like, you don't even have to win mini games to win.
No.
It is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the mini games. We've been talking about them without talking about them.
Yeah. I listed some of my favorite mini games here. I don't know if you guys have any, or if these will maybe jog your memory. I think maybe one that feels like the quintessential Mario Party mini game is Bumper Balls.
Yeah.
This was in 1 and 2, and I think there's basically a variation of it that continues into everything.
Yeah.
Because it's just the, like, hey, you're bumping into each other trying to knock each other off of a platform.
Yeah, I feel like there's one that you're on a giant snowball in one of the Mario Party. Is the same kind of thing. You're kind of rotating on the ball and trying to just, like you said, knock other people off.
And really, a lot of free-for-all games are variations on this theme.
Yes,
where, everybody is trying to survive, and you can loosely interfere with each other up to a time limit. Sometimes there's a time limit. Sometimes it ends in draw. Whatever. Sometimes the arena starts shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bomberman style.
Yep.
But yeah, the other one that always immediately comes to mind for me is one from 3, because I remember actually going. I rarely do this for other mini games where there's, you know, you can just play a mini game if you just want to do that. There's some menu where you can do that. But I remember going into the menu just to play this one because I just thought it was great, and that's Aces High in Mario Party 3. This is the one where you have little planes and you're trying to shoot each other down.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was a good one, too.
Kind of like a simplified version of like playing multiplayer in Star Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like so many. I'm looking back at Mario Party 3. There were so many good ones.
Mario Party 3 had some really, really good ones, and probably of the early ones, probably had some of my favorites. But I was just trying to look one up now because I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I do have fun doing some of the like things where you're having to like, I'm trying to remember. There's ones where you have to like put the face pieces on like a blank Mario head or stuff like that.
Yep, those are good.
Those can be kind of fun, especially with playing with family, you know, with younger kids, because it always gets quite a laugh out of it. Because I think there's other ones where you're like stretching the faces, almost like you can do in Mario 64.
Yep. That's one I listed here. That's just, I think it's great that they just took like the title screen from Mario 64 and they're like, we should make that a mini game.
Right. And there's variations on that too, of that one, right? Like there's ones where you're decorating cakes, and stuff like that, where you're having to drop things on, you know, just the right spot. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff. There is Tug of War. I feel like we got to talk about Tug of War, right?
That's what I told Sam before we got started, before you got on. Is like, we got to talk Tug of War.
Blisters? Who had the blisters to prove
how many
that they were dedicated?
Joysticks?
Yeah, I was just saying, how many controllers did you like? You know, Tug of War.
I never broke a controller, but I did get blisters on my phone.
Tug of War created the extra controller that you gave to your buddy that you didn't care for as much.
That has
like, here, use this one.
Yeah, exactly. We had one of those that we had bought, and when we bought extra one was they only had, I think the store only had one official controller, and the other one was
Mad Catz.
Yeah, Mad Catz kind of thing. And I still have that around here, and it like completely broke off the top, so it's like a screw basically sticking out of the top, you know, of that. Like there's like no way you could use that because you would just, you know, cut your hand open. It's so bad.
Yeah, those you would basically like create dust. Like you would grind the stick.
Yeah.
So like there'd be like little white powder coming out of the like octagonal gate.
It was bad enough that I believe Nintendo did issue some kind of
they had the white
like special glove.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
I don't know anybody that actually got one, but I know that they exist.
Yeah. Well, your collection is not complete, John, until
along
you do
with along with mini games that are completely random chance. The other archetype of mini games I do not care for is rotate the stick as fast as you can, or mash A as fast as you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the first game had quite a few of those. It does seem like they fell out of favor, but I think there's always at least one.
Yeah.
You know? They just they're there for that one guy who likes them in every game.
Yeah, there's somebody that's the fastest button presser out of the group that wins every time.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty it's like rhythmic. You have to
Yep. And it might be inflating a balloon or doing that. There's all sorts of variations on that as well.
Oh gosh, yeah, the one where you have to pump the balloon up, but you have to hit A and B. It's kind of like track.
Oh yeah.
Those are I hate those. Those are my least favorite.
The balloon one though, was that one of those where like you had to make sure you didn't overinflate it? Because that at least puts it puts kind of a cap.
I mean,
on
the way
it.
the way the mechanic works is like it's a like a bicycle pump, and you have to hit A to bring the pump up, and then you have to hit B to push it down, and you have to like get a good rhythm going. You can't be off, or it doesn't work.
Yeah,
those are the ones that get me.
For more casual, like I know stuff like that will my daughter has a real hard time with that. My wife has a hard time with that. Like it's, when you're trying to get the rhythm of your button pressing.
Rhythm gets me every time, and it makes me want to not play something. Like not Mario Party related, but I think it's in Zelda Oracle of Ages. There's like a mini game where you play in the Goron temple.
Yeah,
and it's like
I think that's Seasons. I think wasn't it Seasons?
No, it was Ages.
Where you're having to look a certain way.
Yeah, I think it's actually might be in both of them.
But I can't remember. I think it's the sub Rosa guys or something like that.
I can't do that. That took me like an hour to complete it was like so many attempts.
Yeah. I remember
it just
that
breaks my brain.
Because you had to remember quite a series of.
Oh yeah, and
you had to see it's almost like that was almost like Simon Says, because you had to remember the sequence, plus you had to get the rhythm down. Yeah, that was time, that was rough.
And you had to do it perfectly, or it would start over again. It's
right?
Like, no. Get to the very last one and you lose. I'm like, no, please no.
Right. Fortunately, there's nothing quite that bad in Mario Party that I can remember.
Mario Party tries to keep it a little bit more simple than that. But.
Although there are things like when you have to do 2 versus 2 games, and it's like you're having to work in tandem with another person, and you do have to have like a rhythm between yourself and another person, like the mine car, and stuff like that, where it's like up and down, and inevitably, it just divides you up, and it'd be one person would have to be paired up with like the least skillful person or the youngest person playing, and you're like, all right, here you go.
It's when you take their controller and you just do.
That's kind of an interesting thing, because as I look at different lists of mini games, the ones that I remember the best and generally like the most are usually the free for all 4-player ones.
Yes, I agree.
But of course, there are the 1v3s and the 2v2s.
Yeah,
and the 1v1s, which
I
think came along a little later, or generally less pronounced.
I can't remember. Yeah,
I think it was new in 2, actually.
Could be.
And then they reappear in different forms, but they're usually not. They're never an end of round thing. They're like a special space or something.
Right.
Now, but I appreciate what they're doing with those, though, because it does shake things up. Individually, and like I think there's a reason too. The game's structured the way it is. The free for all there's the most of those, and they're the most common thing you're going to have. That's just sort of how Mario Party works,
right?
Because especially when you look at the 1v3s, there's a lot of them where you're like, this just like isn't fair. Sometimes it's not fair for the 1, sometimes it's not fair for the 3. That's kind of the point. It's like, we're going to shake things up. We're going to let somebody get a win because there's going to be a game that favors them. I think that is valuable to the overall like experience of Mario Party, even if these are games I never want to actually see come up.
I think my biggest thing with the 1 versus 3 especially is that they seem very geared or centered towards like one side or the other always has a huge advantage. Like I rarely feel like those games are all that close. Like it's either like the one person seems to be completely overpowered and easily just blows away the other characters, or seems really underpowered and it's really easy for the 3 to gang up against the 1. And very few of those ever seem like they're coming out like close games. The
other issue is that sometimes one player just doesn't have a lot to do. Yeah. Like sometimes it's usually the people who are on the 3 side. There's kind of variation. There's a lot of them where it's one person has to eliminate the other 3, and so they're just moving around, and he has like some attack he can use or whatever. But
or it'd be like a king of a mountain kind of a
where like the 3 people just don't have a lot they can do because the one person has to like hunt them down, and so they're just like very restricted in order to try to make it fair.
Right.
Again, they're very awkward as standalone games, but I think the point of it is to create that moment where, like, the youngest kid gets to win a game because he gets to, be the overpowered one.
Yeah, true. Yep. Yeah, I don't mind them. It's not like they're probably come up, they don't come up near as often as the free-for-alls and stuff, so it's usually a nice, pretty good balance.
Yeah, there are. I'm trying to think. What? Actually, these both have very similar mechanics in them. There's one 2v2 and one 1v3 that I listed as being memorable to me. The 2v2 is another one from 3 actually called Etch and Catch. And this is one where you have to, there's like a moving toad stamp and you have to trace a circle around it with your partner. That's one where like it feels really good when you actually work together on it. Because it's like, oh yeah, we're actually doing this. Like it doesn't feel like a small feat, and you kind of get your rhythm down, and it lasts just long enough for you to kind of find that. The other one also has a similar mechanic, and it's from 9. It's called Line in the Sand, and the one person is trying to encircle the 3. So they're kind of just a cursor that draws lines, and if you draw a circle around someone, you catch them. So that one I thought was a lot of fun as well, because there's enough variation in how you can go about it. Yeah. Whereas some of the other 1v3s are like, you can, attack the right side of the screen or the left side of the screen, and it's just A and B, and like there's not really like anybody who reacts well, you're not going to catch them.
Yeah.
There's a few that feel like that. But yeah, I was just curious if you guys have any that you remember, or maybe I'm wrong and 1v3 mini games are always awful.
They're not always awful. It just, like I said, it just always feels like it's really, there are very few of them that seem all that balanced, and they just feel unbalanced to me. Like it's really easy for one side or the other to always be the winner.
Yep.
Some of the ones that felt the best probably are, it's not exactly the same, but the Bowser minigames in 10, because that mode was designed for that.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much the same thing. It's Bowser against the other 4. It was actually a 5-player mode, right?
Right.
So, I think you could do Bowser and 2
up
players.
to 5 players.
Up to 5. Yeah. I don't think you needed 5.
Because you could do the Bowser was always the gamepad, and then you could have up to 4 Wiimotes.
So I think that kind of shows, like, in that case, they were intended to be balanced. Though I don't feel like all of them exactly were.
No, for sure not.
But
I mean, balanced maybe as best as they could. But
yeah,
a little bit more of an attempt was made, I think, for those.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other thing to touch on is the later games introduced the use of a lot of peripherals. We talked a little bit about the microphone. I haven't played the games, so I don't know how exactly that was used. But motion controls have been present since 8. Little bit. Well, I guess not in Superstars, right? Because that's all retro in 64 mini games.
Yep. And so it seems like Jamboree is my understanding. You can actually choose whether or not you want to remove all
games. Well, my understanding of it, there are games that use motion controls. There is a setting which will just make those games not appear.
Correct.
And then you don't have to worry about playing with Joy-Con. You can play handheld, whatever.
I think it probably... I'm wondering... I guess I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that if you have somebody playing with a classic controller, or the Wii Pro controller, I was going back there to the Wii there for a second. The Switch Pro controller, if somebody's using that, I'm guessing it probably auto hides any of the ones that would require.
Yeah, I think it knows.
Maybe.
I think it's
unless they just
intelligent.
use gyro, because the Pro controller can do that.
Yeah,
it's just a tilt thing.
That's true.
And then
so I don't know.
And then 10 uses the gamepad, which is kind of cool because it allows you to let Bowser have information that no one else has. So there's lots of cool ways that they make it, to try to give Bowser the upper hand, because he can, see things that you can't on the screen. So there was definitely some cool stuff with that. Kind of reminded me of, what was the name of the game with all the mini games on the Wii U?
Nintendo Land?
Yeah, Nintendo Land. It was very similar to Nintendo Land, how you could play games, and it was very focused on the gamepad being able to display different information than what everyone else could see.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of fun. And there was the whole mode, and it wasn't the Bowser mode that you didn't want to. I'm trying to remember. I might be getting confused. A couple different modes there, but there's the one mode on that game where if you got if the players got the wrong combination of dice or something, you would actually free Bowser from jail or something.
That is the Bowser mode.
That is the Bowser mode.
Yeah, you're locked up.
It's been so long since I played it.
I think it's a number that you have to after so many turns. If you roll a certain amount of spaces, it will unlock the. Or I think it's either that or turns. So after so many turns, if you haven't got far, because the whole thing is designed to give you a head start if you're the 4 players.
Yes, that's right.
Because otherwise, Bowser would just be right on you, unless you started from a different spot. But
I feel like we also need to talk about boards, though. What are some of our favorite boards from the series? I will say right now that my favorite one, and I was trying to look up to make sure I got the exact right name, but Koopa's Tycoon Town, and from Mario Party 8, because it felt like a combination of Mario Party and Monopoly. Because you actually could you could do property investments. And it would kind of flip stuff around. And I thought that was a nice, almost gave like a strategy spin to a little more of a strategy spin to the game. It was definitely though too complicated for my kids at the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to play it as much as I would have liked. But that one really jumps out to me because it was different from all the other boards that you typically saw. It wasn't just a, go here, find the star kind of thing, right? There was a whole nother layer to it.
I don't know that I have favorite boards. I know a lot of people get up, they like the boards. To me, the boards are kind of just the transport to get you to the mini games.
Yeah, most of the earlier games, the boards, mostly the interaction was just, there were shortcuts, there were maybe directions that could flip, there were certain spaces you just had to avoid. I did always like the desert one in Mario Party 3. What was that called? Spiny Desert. It had like this day-night cycle kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But the annoying thing was the sand pit, because I think most games you wind up just warping between the two sand pits, because they're like surrounded by green spaces, and anytime anybody hits it, everybody on the outer rim of the pit gets sucked in and comes out the other one on the other side of the board, and it can be super annoying. But,
yeah, I liked the ones that were like in like the Boo mansions and stuff like that, the haunted mansions, that kind of stuff, because they would usually have like hidden paths and I don't know, more things to discover, interactive elements, so to speak. So any of those.
The other thing about the desert is there was always a fake star. So it always spawned two star spaces, and one of them was
kind of
fake.
like an oasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one was a
feel
mirage.
like there was another board or something that did something similar to that too. But again, unfortunately, over the years, a lot of boards have kind of...
Yeah, they all kind of mesh.
kind of mesh.
Well, the thing that has bothered me, though, is these more recent games have fewer boards. What's the deal with that?
Yeah.
Like, the first game had 9.
Yeah, they've just gone down from there, I think.
The ninth one. I don't think that counts.
But even still.
8. The first one had 8. Even Jamboree, I think, only has 7. It's like finally getting there, but like this was the complaint with Superstar.
Right. Because they had like 4, didn't it? I mean, it was like really
Super
limited.
Mario Party. Superstar, I think, had a few more, but that's the one that they were repeat boards.
Yeah, reused.
Just kind of best of.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it was 5 for Super Mario Party. And that's when everyone was like, oh, they're going to do DLC, and they haven't.
They're
Which
not
is
going
also
to.
kind of weird that
They're
they
gonna
haven't
sell you
adopted
another
that
game.
strategy with this.
Right.
It feels like the games are getting, like, instead of making so many games, they could just make one game now and have it be really content rich. And I think most of them wind up being a little thin on content.
Yeah, but they all sell 10 million copies.
Right.
Yeah.
So they could just make a new one and make more money.
We still
I
buy
think from
them.
the sounds of things, Jamboree does have a lot of content in it, a lot of different modes.
And what I've seen, the boards seem really interesting, too.
And I was going to say, more interesting boards.
At least visually interesting.
I think that, I agree with you. I think you could probably do 1, maybe 2 different iterations per console cycle, and just put a lot more content in them, and make it a little more, almost, just have enough content to keep people coming back. Even if you add some things in, a la Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or something, you could always do that. But I like the idea of just having one that has like tons of content. It's just an evergreen title.
It would
that
be
you
nice.
could pop at any time.
Well, especially if you just keep those updates like that drip of updates like Splatoon, like
right.
That would be a great reason for me to fire up the game again. Like, oh yeah, we just dropped 5 new mini games. It's like great.
5 new mini games and a new board.
Give me an option to toggle which mini games appear.
Yep.
Because especially once you add a ton, you might want to filter, just so it's not overwhelming.
They could do a rotation, kind of like Splatoon does.
Yeah,
you can rotate it, but I mean, just like a Smash Bros. Item switch. Like, I want these 12 mini games only because those are the only ones I care about, or whatever. Or I am a absolute degenerate who picks only the mash A as fast as you can mini games.
Yep.
I'm not playing with you, Sam.
No, I wouldn't do that, but you could if you're that person, right?
Right.
I think we also have some community response to this. We got to get a little bit from. I think Shannon posted a question about what our community's favorite Mario Party games or favorite entries, memories from the series. And Dan has the perfect comment for Dan. It says Mario Party 5 is the first entry to not have Donkey Kong as a playable character. So obviously that one is the worst. Which none of us would know because none of us played.
Apparently, none of us played it.
Well, so it carried on into I think 10 was the first game he was playable again.
Yeah,
because they made Donkey Kong like the opposite of Bowser. At least that's how it was in I think 9 and 10. There were certain boards. There was a Donkey Kong board. Yeah, and there were DK spaces, and they were like Bowser spaces, but generally what they did were good things.
Yeah, good
right.
And he also says that Mario Party 4 is his favorite.
Decision.
Yeah, he's going to have to tell us everything we missed about the GameCube.
Yeah, because it sounds like he's
Mario
got
Parties
it on lockdown.
Well, I think it boils down to it's Dan, and Mario Party 4 is both on the GameCube, and you can play Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And that's all he needs.
That's right. That's right.
You want to read Chris's? Or do you guys have them open? I can read them.
I have it open.
Yeah,
I can read Chris's. So Chris said, looking back at breaking my N64 controller, trying to roll as fast as I could to win a minigame. Yeah. Yup. That's what we're kind of saying. That, wearing out those controllers. I wonder if Chris ever got one of the gloves.
It might have been harder to get in Canada. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Zomber says, learning how to play slot car derby. For some reason, my brain couldn't process what I needed to do to win. I still suck at it from Mario Party 1 on the 64 on, but still a fond memory.
That one definitely takes a little bit of getting used to.
Too. That hurts my brain too. So,
is it just the controls, or is it the idea that you need to slow down to make turns?
I think a little of both. At least for me, I can't really speak for him, but it's the slowing down, right? And also the controls are just when to go up or down. It's not like controlling Mario Kart. By any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, you want to change direction, but it's just an acceleration.
Right.
There was a Clubhouse Games slot car game too that was very similar.
Clubhouse does a slot car. Yeah, it's. Well, I think I had some RC cars that worked that way, right? Where it was just the one direction lever. And I think it just went in circles. So I think it's just you had to be somebody who played with those toys to get it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's our community couch. I think everyone else was, we were kind of late to ask. So maybe they were sleeping already or listening to Nintendo Dads.
Yes, right. One or the other. Well, we could still, it's not too late. I mean, people could still go ahead and post in there. if they've got any more.
Yep, we can still talk about it within the Discord for sure. But I think that's all I've got on Mario Party.
Yeah,
Looking
we'll
forward to playing
Jamboree.
as looking forward to playing Jamboree, and looking forward to be finally playing as oh my word, now I just
Pauline?
completely lost her name. Pauline. Man,
Oh,
that was really bad.
Donkey
Who else
Kong.
is new? I know Monty Mole's back, so I'm Monty Mole main.
there
of
you
course.
go.
I have to
Yes.
be.
Yes, Pauline though is my favorite Mario female character, so I am very, very excited to see her being included finally.
Yeah, I think she'll be in most of the spin-offs going forward.
She's more important
I think so.
now.
It just well, I mean, it's when your other characters are characters that don't even have a proper name. When it's like Monty. Well, Monty's a name,
I
but
was gonna say,
when it's
Peach.
Goomba, are you gonna put in Goomba, who's basically it could be any Goomba, or are you gonna put in
right? I guess it does make more sense than like Hammer Brother. Although I do love playing as a Hammer Brother too. So
it's
why
fun
not
that they kind of
let's bring
rotate
them all
through
in.
those.
Yeah,
It's weird because there's a few that are
here.
exclusive to like one game.
Right?
Blooper.
Yeah.
There's
right.
people waiting for him to come back.
Good luck.
All those Blooper fans. Yep.
All right. Close this out.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check us out on Twitter at RetroLogic Games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in the Twitter bio, and you can find everything on the website retrologic.games. Until then, have a good night.
Bye now.
Good night.